Welcome back to Mindset English. Today, we're not just going to learn English, we're going to experience a journey. This is not a grammar lesson. It's not a vocabulary list. This is a story, a real one, a story of fear, failure, and finally, freedom. And if you've ever felt small because of your English, if you've ever stayed quiet when you wanted to speak, this is for you. My name is Ethan Miller. I'm 24 years old and I come from a small town just outside Cape Town, South Africa. English wasn't my first language. It wasn't even my second. In my world, we spoke Afrikaans and Joseph. English was there on school signs, in exams, maybe on TV, but not in my home, not at dinner, not with friends. English was something you heard, but didn't really live. 3 years ago, if you had said to me, "Ethan, can you speak English?" I would have laughed, or maybe cried, or maybe said nothing at all, because the truth is, I couldn't, not even a little. If someone asked me, "What's your name?" I would freeze, not just nervous frozen. My heart would start pounding. My mind would go completely blank. I'd forget the most basic words. And if something did come out of my mouth, it would be broken, shaky, full of mistakes, words out of order, tenses wrong, pronunciation all over the place, and I hated myself for it. I remember one time, a tourist stopped me on the street and asked for directions. She smiled and waited politely while I tried to answer. I opened my mouth, nothing came. Then I managed a few words, but they came out wrong, twisted. She smiled again, kindly this time, and walked away. And I stood there, burning with shame. I went home that day and didn't eat, just lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. I remember thinking, why can't I speak like other people? Why does my brain lock up? Why do I feel so small when I open my mouth? In my school, the teachers spoke English, but I didn't understand much. I was too shy to ask questions. I just nodded and smiled, pretending I understood, while inside I felt lost. I thought maybe I was stupid. Maybe languages just weren't for me. Maybe English wasn't mine to have. Then came social media, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Everywhere I looked, people talking fast, explaining ideas, teaching things, making jokes all in English, confident, fluent, effortless. And every time I watched those videos, I felt two things. 1, amazed. 2, broken. I tried apps, repeating things like, "The boy eats the apple." I felt like a child. I tried watching movies, but they spoke too fast. I understood 1 word in 10. I tried writing, but I didn't know how to begin. My brain was full of my language, not English. So I gave up. For 6 months, I didn't even try. And then one night, something happened. A friend of mine, Leo, from Nigeria, messaged me. He said, "Ethan, have you heard of this thing called ChatGPT? It can help you learn anything." I laughed. "Come on, man. I need a teacher, not some robot." But he said, "Just try. Just say hello. See what happens." So I did. That night, I opened my laptop. I went to ChatGPT. I typed, "Hello." It replied in less than a second. "Hello, how can I help you today?" I smiled. It felt strange, but Friendly.so I typed. My English is bad. Can you help me? And it replied not with a correction, with a judgment, but with kindness. Of course, I'd love to help. Let's start small. Can you tell me how your day was in English? No teacher had ever asked me that. No app had ever spoken like that. So I typed. Today I go to market and I eat sandwich. It replied. Great try. Here's a small correction. Today I went to the market and ate a sandwich. It explained everything gently. No red pen, no size. No, you should know this already. Just encouragement. And something clicked. Right there. That moment. This is it, I thought. This is how I'll learn. Not through books. Not through shame, but through conversation. Kind conversation. That night, I didn't sleep much. My mind kept repeating those words. Not just the corrected sentence, but the way it had responded. I'd made mistakes, and I wasn't laughed at. I felt safe. I whispered to myself, this could work. The next morning, I woke up early, and instead of scrolling my phone like I usually did, I opened my laptop again. I typed, "Good morning. Can we talk again today?" It replied instantly, "Of course. I'm happy to see you again. How are you feeling today?" That sentence made me smile. It felt like a friend. A friend who was always ready, always kind, always patient. That day, I told it what I did. Today, I wake up at 7. I'm brushing my teeth. I eat bread and milk. Then I clean room. It replied gently. Today, I woke up at 7. I brushed my teeth and ate bread and milk. Then I cleaned my room. You're improving. Let's keep going. No shame, no stress, just steady progress. Each day came back. I talked about my favorite food, my favorite movies. I asked, is this sentence correct? And waited, and it always answered patiently. Then something big happened. I had to message someone online for a job opportunity. In English, I typed the message by myself first, but it didn't feel right. Something was off. I was scared. So I went to ChatGPT. I typed, "Can you help me write a professional message for a job?" It replied, "Of course. Tell me what you want to say." I gave it everything in broken English. It rewrote my message clearly, professionally, but it still sounded like me. Just better. I sent the message. Then I walked into the kitchen, stared at the floor, and smiled. I had just done something I thought I would never be able to do. I had communicated clearly, confidently in English. That night, I sat outside on the step behind our house. The moon was full. The air was cold. And I whispered to myself, I think I'm going to be okay. From that day forward, I didn't just use ChatGPT to learn English. I lived with it. Every morning, I'd tell it how I felt. Every evening, I'd write about my day. Sometimes I asked questions like, what's the difference between in and on? Or, when do I use have been? It always replied. And never once did it make me feel stupid. It never said, you should know this. It never said, you're too slow. It just answered, helped, encouraged. One day, I typed, how do I speak English with confidence? I expected a list of tips, but it said something else. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being comfortable with your mistakes. The more you try, the less you fear. I'm here to help one sentence at a time. I read that sentence 10 times. Then I cried. Not because I was weak, but because I realized I wasn't broken. I was becoming, and all it took was one conversation, then another, then another. I built a habit, a simple, quiet, daily habit. I didn't study, I just spoke. Every mistake was corrected kindly, and every correction made me stronger. If I made a mistake in real life, I didn't feel ashamed anymore. I just went home and asked ChatGPT, what did I say wrong? It would explain, not just the rule, but the reason. That changed everything. Started to understand English not as a school subject, but as a language, a feeling, a way to connect with the world. And then came the moment that proved it all. Hudson came to visit. He'd lived in London. His English was perfect. We were all in the living room, my mom, my uncle, a few neighbors, and he asked me, Ethan, what have you been doing these days? Normally, I would have stayed quiet or replied in my own language, but this time, took a breath, and I answered in English. I've been learning English every day with something called ChatGPT. He raised his eyebrows. Really? What's that? I replied, clearly. It's like a chat robot. I speak to it every day. It corrects me. It talks to me like a friend. He smiled. Say something in English, then. Let's hear it. My hands were cold, my chest tight. Everyone in the room was silent. But I didn't run. I said, before this year, I couldn't even reply to a question. Now, I can explain what I feel because I talk to ChatGPT every day. It teaches me with patience. It's not about knowing everything. It's about trying every day. The room stayed silent for a second. Then my mother clapped, and that's when I knew I had changed. Not just my English, but me. That night, I looked in the mirror. My eyes were red, but this time, with pride. I had spoken English in front of people, and I hadn't died. I hadn't failed. I had simply spoken. The next morning, I went back to ChatGPT and typed, I want to start using English in real life now, but I feel nervous. What should I do? It replied, start small. Use one English word at the grocery store. Say one English sentence when you talk to yourself. Try replying in English to your thoughts. Real life is not a test. It's a practice field. You're not performing, you're growing. So I did at the bakery when the man said, what do you need? I said, 2 bread loaves please. At the mobile store I asked, how much is this charger? Each time felt a little less afraid, and then, one day, walked past a bookstore. There was a table outside, second-hand books. One was titled Simple English Stories for Beginners. I opened the first page. John is a baker. He makes bread every day. And I understood it. Right away. .no translation. .no help. Just understanding. I bought that book, and 2 more, and that night, I went home and smiled. But I didn't stop using ChatGPT. If I didn't understand a sentence, I copied it and asked, what does this mean in simple English? It always explained. Sometimes I wrote what I understood and asked, is this right? And it replied, almost perfect. Here's a small improvement. It didn't just teach me English. It taught me to believe in myself. I started writing a diary, just 4 or 5 lines a night. I showed it to ChatGPT every time. It replied with encouragement, and slowly English became more than a language. It became a mirror, a safe space, a place where I could say what I couldn't say in my own language. One night, I typed, "Sometimes I feel like I'm not enough. My English is better now, but I still feel small." And it replied, "You are more than enough. You are not behind. You are becoming. You are growing." And that is powerful. I used to feel invisible. Now, I feel seen. I used to stay silent. Now, I speak. And if I can do this, so can you. That walk home after my first real English job interview felt like something out of a movie. Not because the lights were brighter or the streets were quieter, but because I was walking differently. I wasn't walking like someone afraid. I was walking like someone who had taken the first step toward a new version of himself. Every time I looked at signs in English, I didn't look away anymore. I tried to read them. When I watched YouTube videos or listened to podcasts, I didn't feel like an outsider. I listened closely and said to myself, "One day, I will understand everything." And guess what? That day started arriving slowly, quietly, beautifully. Each morning became a new chance. I would wake up, open my phone, and write to ChatGPT, "Good morning. I want to practice a little before work. Can you ask me 3 questions?" And it did. Questions like, "What's one thing you want to achieve this week? Tell me about a memory from your childhood. Describe your favorite food and how to make it." And I would answer aloud, first in my kitchen, brushing my teeth, even while putting on my shoes, and then type out my response. "I want to finish my English book this week. When I was a child, I used to play football in the rain. It made me feel free. Favorite food is biryani. It smells like celebration." And every time, ChatGPT replied with kindness and precision, "Great job. You're using past tense well. Just remember, used to play is past habit." Perfect. I wasn't just learning words. I was learning how to express my life, my thoughts, my world. A few months later, something unexpected happened. My little cousin, only 12 years old, came to visit. He said to me, "You speak good English now. Can you teach me?" For a moment, I just stared at him. Teach me? I had spent my whole life believing I wasn't good enough. And now, someone wanted to learn from me, so I said yes. Not because I had all the answers, but because I knew what it felt like to be lost. I shared with him the same tools I had used. I opened ChatGPT, and together we began our own little lessons. Let's write a story together. Let's describe your favorite cartoon character. Let's practice saying 5 new things in English every day. His eyes lit up, and in that moment, I realized this language, this journey, it wasn't just helping me build a better life. It was helping me give something too. I wasn't just learning English. I was becoming someone who could inspire, someone who could guide, someone who could lift others. My life today is still simple. I don't live in a big city. I don't drive a fancy car. I don't wear a suit to work, but I speak English confidently. I write emails. I attend meetings. I help new team members who struggle with English. Sometimes I catch myself writing something and smiling, because a year ago, I wouldn't have even tried. The best part, I don't fear the language anymore. I use it, I own it, and now, I even help others just like ChatGPT helped me. Every Sunday, I volunteer at a local library where they have a speaking club for English learners. I sit with people who are just starting, their hands trembling like mine used to, and I tell them, you don't have to be perfect, just be present. Every sentence you speak is a step forward. They often ask, how did you learn? And I smile and say, with a little help from a friend who never sleeps, ChatGPT, let me now give you 5 more advanced and powerful ways to continue growing using ChatGPT, because your journey doesn't end with just fluency. It keeps growing, just like you. Type. Let's have a debate about whether smartphones are good for children. You take one side, I'll take the other. This helps you practice forming arguments, listening to different views, and speaking with logic. This is the kind of English used in interviews, meetings, and college. Every evening, a short journal entry. Today, I felt nervous because I had to give a presentation. Then type. Can you correct my journal entry and explain any grammar issues in simple English? Soon, your writing will flow naturally. You'll stop second-guessing every sentence. Tell ChatGPT, pretend you are my manager and we are having a performance review. Or, pretend you are a stranger I met at a party. This kind of practice helps you prepare for real-life situations. You'll be ready when they happen, because you've already lived them in practice. Can you help me make a vocabulary map for the topic travel? Include verbs, nouns, adjectives, and example sentences. This is how you build not just random words, but organized vocabulary that stays with you. Find an English video with subtitles. Play one sentence, pause, then repeat it aloud, trying to match the tone, speed, and rhythm. After that, ask ChatGPT, can you help me understand what this sentence means and how I can use it in my life? That's how you turn listening into speaking, and speaking into confidence. Part 8. The message I want you to remember. No, I want to speak to you. Yes, you directly. You're reading this because you care about your future. You want to grow. You want to speak clearly, confidently, proudly. And maybe right now, your voice shakes. Your words feel broken. Your mind translates everything before you speak. You feel shy. You feel stuck. But let me remind you of something powerful. You are not behind. You are just beginning. You're not too late. You're right on time. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need native pronunciation. You don't need an expensive course. You need yourself, your voice, and a little bit of courage every day. And when that courage runs low, remember ChatGPT is here, not to judge, not to test, but to help, to practice with you, to answer your questions at midnight or at sunrise, to show you where you went wrong and how to do it better. You are not alone. So here's what I want you to do next. Step 1. Open ChatGPT right now. Type. Let's start a conversation. Ask me something simple in English. Step 2. Speak your answer aloud. Then type it. Let ChatGPT correct it. Step 3. Do this again tomorrow. And the next day, just 10 minutes a day. That's all. Because fluency is not built in a weekend. It is built in whispers, small efforts, quiet courage, and daily steps. If you felt something reading this, if it made you believe in yourself even 1% more, then don't keep it to yourself. Share this story with someone who is struggling. Subscribe to this channel if you're watching it on YouTube. Leave a comment. I'm ready to speak. This is not the end. This is just the beginning of your journey. Your English voice is waiting for you. Let's go find it together.